IMConscious.
Now what?
What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? Yeah.
Hold it. He's talking about doctor.
Peace of love, soul group. It's Derek Dunlap back with another episode of I'm Conscious. Now what? A lot going on. There's a lot going on. I took another one of those cosmic showers yesterday. Some of you know what I refer to as a cosmic shower. If you don't, let me catch you up on something that I've been doing now consciously and purposely that is taking me to realms that even I have never experienced so vividly. So first, let me start off by explaining what a cosmic shower is and why my higher self led me to these cosmic showers that just enhance every aspect of my beingness. Now, we've been taught as human beings, for some strange reason, I don't even know where this came from, but when it rains, if you just watch humans, a lot of us, when it starts raining, people start taking cover. Literally, the umbrellas pop out, people start running. I mean, one of those good rains, right? We run. A lot of women don't want to get their hair wet. You guys know what I'm talking about. When it starts raining, for some reason, we have been taught to take cover. So I did a little experiment when I first started picking up on this rainwater. We've even been told that rainwater is more toxic than tap water, and some of us believed it. I'm out in nature 12 hours out of the day. In a lot of cases, yeah, because I sleep for 8, that leaves 4, 12 hours. I'm out in nature. And I have vegetation and mulberry trees and grapevines on my property. And I've noticed very, very fast that when I water my grass and my plants with this tap water, the plants don't die, okay? They stay green, but they don't grow. And you have to be very, very keen to this, you know. They don't grow like they grow when the rain comes down, right? It could rain for maybe 5 minutes and you'll get an inch to an inch and a half on your blades of grass. And if you're conscious about your plants and, you know, your vegetation, if you have this one-on-one intimate relationship with this live food that's all around you, you'll become very, very aware, just like when you're heating up your food on the stove, the temperature that makes your food cook faster or just at the right speed where it's not burning up. Some of you ladies are conscious. You say, oh no, baby, turn the light down. You got that light too high, right? I've become conscious of the way my vegetation grows based on tap water and the organic rainfalls. Okay, I've become conscious to the point where I can hear the birds celebrating when the rain is coming. I watch how the trees shift and change frequencies when the water is coming, right? Look at your animals when the water is coming. It's a different energy. And so what I've started doing consciously is when I feel, I can smell it, I can feel it, I know when it's going to rain. And some of you know when it's going to rain. Well, I have an altar in my backyard where I meditate. I don't care who's watching. I strip down, I get butt ass naked, right? And I return back to Gaia, Mother Earth. And I sit on this mantle and I allow this rain, this water, this virtual water that sustains all the life on this planet. You let it stop raining. I don't even have to say that. You know how important the rain is. And I've begun to take these cosmic showers where I allow this water to envelop my whole beingness, to get in the pores of my crown, to the soles of my feet that's grounded on Mother Earth, and all of my chakras open up at light speed. And I just feel so alive and revived and rejuvenated. I feel alive on every aspect of who I am, all the way to my physical body, to my etheric body, to my astral body, to my emotional body, to my mental body. We're all in alignment just by simply embracing the rain, sitting in the rain, sitting in what we would call a storm, sitting in the electric field, the purification process that Mother Earth goes through every time it thunders and lightens and rains. I've learned how to center in that now. And every time I do this, I go to a realm or a frequency that I've never experienced. And it's so vivid. So vivid. So I'm gonna make this phone call, and I've been trying to get this special individual on. I'm conscious now. What? Not physically, but literally trying to get this person on. And for me, taking that cosmic shower yesterday, I had an out of body experience of where I viewed this individual, and this individual that I'm gonna bring on the platform today was speaking on a large platform. And I remember walking up real close to the stage where this individual, and I just pulled up a chair, and the energy and the vibration and the harmony from his throat chakra was just moving amongst this big sea. It's like a sea of people. And so when I woke up from this out of body experience, when I came back into my physical body, I just laid there this morning. And I don't know why, but I just got this urge to get back in contact with this brother. And this brother contacted me many years ago when I was not conscious at all. I hadn't even started the awakening process. Okay, so I'm gonna do this live. It's gonna be a little different today, ladies and gentlemen. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen.
Hello.
Brother Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Peace and love to you. You got a little background noise going on. Just a little. Oh, you good?
That's a fan making a lot of noise. I'm gonna move away from it.
Okay. Brother Paul, you are live with me on I'm Conscious Now What? And I kind of gave the audience just a little bit of who you are and what you're about. And I was just saying
Yes,
that
sir.
how you got in contact with me. Okay, we'll let that blow past. Got a little wind going on. You set now, brother?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it back in my car that way. Okay.
All right, cool. Yeah, brother Paul. First of all, let me just say how honored I am to bring you on the platform. I was telling the audience that, you know, I've been trying to get you on the platform for a while now, but for some reason, you know, the stars didn't just align up to get you on the platform. So could you just tell the audience just a little bit about you, how long you've been doing what you've been doing? And then I just wanted to bounce some different topics, some different perspectives off of you for our audience today. Is that cool, brother?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Wonderful.
Okay.
Well, basically, my background is personal development. I've been a student of spiritual law for more than 40 years now, and pretty much doing the work that I do for more than 35 years. And my basic foundation, all the work that I do, is to bring people into their fullness of their pure potentiality. And so that everybody's born with the gifts, talents, and the abilities of greatness. And so assisting people to tap into that realm of possibility is my love and the work that I've been doing for the last 40 years plus.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful, brother. And I remember that first phone call I had with you, man, that had to be like, I mean, years ago. And I was just so, you saw something in me way back then that I couldn't even see of myself. And I mean, I was knee deep in debt and network marketing and, you know, the big money thing, brother. What could you just share? Because I like to use me. I don't like putting other people on the spot. So I feel like I've experienced enough on my journey to just use myself as the guinea pig. Paul, what was it back then that you saw in me that gave you that speech that you gave me years ago? What did you see? What did you feel? The
clearest thing that you were presenting was searching. Your energy represented one's in search of. And I think that's the key for all of us when we're ready to move from one vibration to another. We want to change one frequency to another frequency, or we want to change one reality to another reality. We start being in search. I saw Gary show me your video. When you were making that video and you were talking into the video, you were walking down the trail. And you had put yourself out there to make known the unknown. So I said, wow, this brother, he's on a mission. He's on his way. And I think when we become missionary, the way I like saying it is, some of us are born with a cause bigger than ourselves. And some of us come and we stumble in the pathway of it. So those who come with the already precondition of having an idea bigger than ourselves, all we're here doing is just discovering that process while we're here.
That's good. That's good. So Brother Paul, from your perspective, because we get so many perspectives of what we call the life. Okay. Could you bring us into your world a little bit and give us your perspective on what is the life from Brother Paul? What is this life? What are we doing here, man?
That's a great question, Derek. Well, I would start with presenting the being, as I say, that I am a student of law, and I'm speaking of universal law or spiritual law. And so my life work has taken me into a spiritual understanding of this thing called life. And so everything for me in the physical realm is only a manifestation of that which has been created in the spiritual realm. And so, like, for example, and we're dealing with human behavior, which is something we deal with every day in these physical bodies. What we're dealing with is the law of abundance, which is probably the greatest law governing the entire planet. And so as we interact with that law as physical entities, these bodies as human beings, what we're dealing with is the abundance of everything that's been deposited in us, everything that is present, everything that is in the creation of things. And so everything that we ever would need is forever present. And so because everything that we need is already present, it's the abundance. It is what most people search for in materialism called wealth. They're looking very specifically for material gain, but the abundance is all matter. And so when we talk about the law of abundance, you're talking about your conscious is aware that everything that you ever need is always present. It's just a matter of you discovering acknowledging it, accessing it, and then applying it. And so the reverse of that, Derek, is with something that's called the default switch, the spirit of lack. So either you're going to acknowledge by the law abundance, or you automatically will go into the spirit of default. When you go into the default switch, it means that you will start thinking that there's something missing, there's something lacking, and then you'll spend your entire life looking for something that doesn't exist on the physical plane.
Man, Paul, man, I love you, Paul.
Yes.
Now we talking. Now we talking my language. Okay, Paul. So now that we discovered, because this is what I've been trying to deliver, just the way you delivered it for so long. So what you saying, brother Paul, is there's really no such thing as lack, right?
That's right.
There's no, everything that we need, everything that we will, everything that we desire, we can have if we just learn how to tap into this abundance that we already are. Is that kind of?
That's right.
All right.
That's
All right. Now we making some progress. Okay. So my next question to you, brother Paul, is okay, because sometimes people need to hear things from a different perspective. How or what would you say in 2017? Today is July. Oh man, I got a birthday coming up. Today is July 23rd. Today is July 23rd.
23rd today.
All right.
23rd is today.
So July 23rd, 2017. What is, and I don't even want to say easiest or hardest, what is a method that you can tell our audience today that will allow any individual that has this will and this desire to tap into this abundance that we already have? How would you guide a brand new person today and say, look, this is the steps that you need to take to position yourself in the driver's seats of what we call abundance, spiritual abundance?
Right. Well, because the universe, just like our physical bodies, is a system of processes. Everything is very simple. It's a process. And so we have to deal with time as it's known cyclical to the universe and not man's time, because everything is going to be based on your readiness, your consciousness. And so the system of people becoming ready is simple. It's when you decide to come out of judgment. So most of us have chosen judgment in our lives through the spirit of lack. And so once you start functioning in the spirit of lack, you create a judgment within, and then you start looking at everything through your eyes of judgment. So you become an enslaved to judgment. So what most people are doing is constantly trying to justify their behavior or their actions because they've enslaved themselves emotionally and psychologically through judgment. And so what has to take place is you have to become consciously aware that everything that you're dealing with that's keeping you enslaved, you created on some level.
That's right.
And so once you're ready to free yourself from that, it's just a simple matter of you deciding to, and then going through the process. Okay.
Great answer, man. Great answer. I already got my little notepad. See, I know when I'm getting meat and potatoes. See, this ain't spiritual ramen noodles that we've been eating. This is like meat and potatoes. So now, okay. So, all right. Because we got a younger audience on this show, and then we got a little older, mature audience. So basically, we are who we believe we are, who we think we are, and who we say we are. Can we come into agreement in saying that that's, in alignment to what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we just get into the basics on this because I want to make this as simple as possible, because I know that man is the author of all of this confusion with all of these different doctrines and all the information overload on the internet. So what can one do do you have any, because I'm like a hands-on person. If I see something, hear something, or experience something, I can download, because I think that, with everybody going to social media now, and there's more conscious chatter conscious chatter, more conscious channels that are opening up. We in our humanoid form, it's like we sometimes feel like, what is the secret? Or maybe this person has the answer, or this person has the answer. Would it be safe to say, Paul, that all of the answers that we will and desire and need can be found on the inside of us, not physically inside of us, but from turning within? How important is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything that we're looking for, the answers are within. It's within the consciousness of your mature self, the maturated self. And so in the book of Proverbs, it has one of the most profound statements that most people miss in the religious circle. It says, above all thy getting, get understanding. Mm-hmm. For understanding is more valuable than any earthly riches. Mm. That, Derek, has been with me all my life since a very, very young lad. And what that told me was, man, people are looking for the material wealth, but they lack understanding. And so if you start looking at the universe, especially as a child, because when we're 2 and 3, we keep questioning everything because we're looking for answers, then understanding begins to vibrate. You begin to attract understanding to yourself because you want to know. And so either you're going to do one of 2 things again. Either you're going to be looking for the abundance and attracting knowledge to yourself as you want to know, or you're going to flip the script, which is the spirit of lack, and you're going to want to dummy yourself down so you can run from personal accountability. So there is no in between. There is no middle ground in anything. You're either right or unright. You're either dealing with truth or falsehood. You're either dealing with the spirit of lack or abundance. There is no middle ground. You can't be a little pregnant. You're pregnant or you're not. And so the universe is a system.
That's right.
That creates the absolute. And so if you want something, it will absolutely come. And if you don't want something, it will absolutely not come, because you will create the blockage to make sure you don't get it.
Oh, man, that's powerful. Oh, man, that's powerful. Where I'm from, we call that, now that's real shit right there. That's real shit right there, man. Where I come from, that needs to be amplified, because, see, this vicious system that I've awakened to, I've awakened in my awakening state of what we call 4th, 5th. Where are we now as far as vibration, in the physical? Mm-hmm. I've awakened in my awakening state, and I've found that I've been subjected to a vicious, treacherous, unbalanced, unrighteous, gritty, messy, sticky. Oh man, I could just go on and on. System that's been imposed. And what I've got from this, Paul, is, and mine is real simple. I'm a very simple being, and that's why I think I just want the meat and potatoes. I don't want the appetizers when you go eat. You want an appetizer? I always skip that. Just bring me the meat and potatoes. Not physical meat, but I always want the essence of something. I don't like the pussyfoot around. I want to go right to the source, right? And what's happened to us, from my perspective, is we have fallen out of love with self, right? And falling in love with a foreign, man-made illusion of power, of which we call money. People, including myself now, ladies and gentlemen, see, I'll start with me. There was in this incarnation, and I'm supposed to be awakening, right? I'm running a platform now, right? I was chasing money. I didn't love myself. I didn't know how to love myself, so I couldn't love anybody else, right? But I love that damn money. I couldn't go without that money now, because money has been pushed into the forefront, right, in this reality. And the life, the value of the life has been pushed in the background. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to say, we're going to have to get to the point, and today's show topics are, we're in the deep waters. Can you swim? And let me tell you guys what I mean by that. All right. By that, right? Because I don't choose topics that we talk to on I'm Conscious Now What that are SEO friendly. You know what I mean? That what people are searching for. A lot of, channels do that. And I don't hate on them for doing that, but I try to drive points home. And I'm to the point on my journey of ascension right now that money can never and never will satisfy me. And let me explain to you guys why. It will never, ever, 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 ever satisfy me because I have identified who I am. I know who I am now. And that's the great illusion that's been pulled over our eyes. I am not just this meat pack, which I love. I love my meat pack. I am not black. I am not a male. I am not a human. I am, there's the power, whatever I say I am, right, ladies and gentlemen? So I am consciousness. I am this intelligent, infinite, non-physical energy, immortal. Okay, so money will never fill the void that a consciousness allows me to fill. I fill the void with my thoughts and my voice and my energy. Money can't fill my void. And I just got to the more of this consciousness that I allow to envelop me, and I'm building this relationship and I'm responding to it and I'm identifying it in the physical and the non-physical. I'm waking up in my dreams. That's the lucid dream. I'm waking up in this illusion of what we call the life, and this money, it doesn't satisfy me. Now, I know I have to grab it and give it to this person to get this back. I understand that. But I think most of us on our journey, we're so fucking miserable right now, and we in the deep waters. We free. Paul, we free. We've been cut loose, right? It's like we've been on this ship for 400 years. Oh, that's a bad, scratch that. We've been on, that's a bad analogy right there. Everybody ain't gonna be able to identify with that. Okay, so I'll use another one, right? We've been in this dimension for 6,000 years, right? And all of a sudden, we're let out of this dimension and we fall into the water. We free. And all we got to do is be able to stay afloat and swim, and we can go wherever we want to go. We're free. We're back in the void. We're back in the void right now. And most people are scared of the void. We're in the void, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, you can go to the void, close your eyes, but most of you are scared of the darkness because you've been taught to be that way. Right now, Paul, and I want you to get your intake on this because I'm getting excited, man. I'm getting excited because I can see through the illusion. I see it for what it is, man. And people don't understand. They get so disgruntled when I say, I can't wait till the bottom of this system falls out. And a lot of people say, oh, how can you say that? What about your babies? And what about the people? People ain't even incarnated into a body, and people, what about your children's? Listen, lady, listen. There's only one present moment, right? And what's to be is gonna be. There's a law called the laws of cause and effect. For every cause, there's an effect, and for every effect, there's a cause. I can't worry about something that you're creating in your imagination that says 20 years out. I can only focus on what's going on right now. And right now on this planet, there are souls that are experiencing a supreme opposite, which I call a polarity version of the life that we are experiencing in the United States, right? And these people don't even have running water. These people don't have a light switch that they can turn on. These people don't even have food to put into their bodies to keep their light shining. In some way, somehow, they're still surviving off the land. You know what I'm saying, Paul? They're still surviving. Yeah. We got to get rid of, and when I say we, the conscious souls that know what the life is, that can see the life in the chicken, that can see the life in a human, that can see the life in the insect, that can see the life in the life in water, the life in the wind, all of these things. We have to get this system out of place, man. We have to get rid of money. And I know that sounds weird right now in 2017 in July, but we have to get this system. When you get rid of this money, when you alleviate this money from the forefront, that's when you'll see the souls take back the planet. That's when you'll see the race thing just fall away. Because when you really think about it, Paul, when bad things happen, like you remember when the Trade Center blew up? It's just unfortunate that we have to go there. What happens when these casualties take place? You notice one thing in common: everybody comes together. Think about it. It ain't no color thing. Everybody just come together when something happens real bad, and it affects a lot of lives. When that lack hits your ass, right? We all come together. So imagine if this something happened and the bottom of this damn government, this Federal Reserve, just fell out and it just crashed. It'll force us as beings and souls to come back together. But as long as you got money, you got these categories: the rich, the elite, the middle class. You see what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? And this is what's causing the hate. This is what's causing the gluttony. This is what's causing the covetousness. This is what's causing these divisions, these categories. And you can't see it now, and because I couldn't see it now, but I see it so clearly now. When we get rid of the money, we get rid of probably 99.9% of the things that's keeping us separate as soul groups and beings. And that's what we're here. And I'm here because I had to learn how to love, right? And when I found this love, right, this love that cast out all fear, it took away the sting of the illusion of lack of in my life. And that's why you guys hear me say all the time, Paul, that everything is perfect for me. I'm still discerning certain things, but I don't lack anything. Because whether I can get it in the physical or in the non-physical, I get it. I get that I'm a multi-dimensional being, Paul.
Yes.
I get it.
I think for most people, what we're dealing with is language, and our language use is defined, and then it's not defined. It's not clear, and so we use language not in a way of accuracy. You know, like you have language and you have mother tongue, and then you have broken English, you have broken language. And so we use terminology a lot, and then we're not necessarily clear on language use. So what happens is we get trapped in the language more so than understanding a lot of the choices that we make, because you limit yourself when you don't have the greater option through the knowledge, what I would say the knowledge of self, or accurate knowledge. And so I find that a lot of challenges that people have is with their lack of understanding clarity of language, which means language, words they're using, because what you use, you create. And so as you speak things into existence, we don't understand that the very thing that we're trying to do away with, or to overcome, or to create, we created it and reinforced it by saying it. And so if you want to evolve something to a different place and get rid of something, then the greatest way to get rid of it is to erase it from your memory, your thoughts.
That's right.
Which means is to negate it. And so just as we're creating judgment, you know, you have the ability to negate and to remove things the same way. And so one of the things I've done over the years in teaching students is to help them to really understand the tremendous power in what we call contracting. Contracting is a term that we know in this world we live in is sales. So every day you're sold on something because you are the greatest salesperson for yourself. You sell yourself the idea. You sell yourself the thought. The thought then is emotionally packaged into an idea, and then you believe the idea, and then you carry the idea out. Well, that's okay in the natural process of things. But if the idea is not based in law, if it's not grounding in a foundation of law, then that means it's grounded in a foundation of something other than law. So what you'll find is that there are people who have belief systems that are very, very weak or very, very shaky, is because that their foundation of things that they have bought into and their belief is not grounded solidly in law. It's more so one's philosophy, one's perception of reality.
That's right.
And so therefore it's very shaky, it can be shaken.
That's right.
If it's based in law, then that means it's mathematically sound. It means it's based in accurate knowledge.
Right.
And so over the years of this work that I've been doing, really trying to assist and help people with their true potentiality and tapping into their resource, is I find that a lot of people are misusing language and contracting with themselves unawarely, without their conscious awareness. And so what happens is they have all these contracts in place that they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And that's some of the stuff that they have to work out first, because once you make a contract with yourself, just like any contract, is binding. And so you have to change the terms of your contract to allow yourself permission, as we always say, to give yourself permission to do the things that you want to do or need to do to bring yourself into the whole, or to the fullness thereof, what you want to accomplish.
That's good, man. And so, and I want you to, and this is probably a whole nother show topic, but I know a lot of people, when you said this, because it, you know, I downloaded it and I traced back the laws that I'm grounded in. And I say this a lot of times, and I know some people pick up on what I'm saying. Paul, I have laws, and I just call them universal laws, because that's the closest. I live by a universal code now. And this was a big part of my ascension. And I said this on a previous a live stream. I'm not grounded in the laws of man. I understand the laws of man. I'm not ignorant to man-made laws, but I don't ground them. I don't give them space in my heart space, is what I'm saying. You got different spaces on this physical body. I didn't ground my will and my desire are not grounded in the laws by man, because the laws that man make, you know, my beasts in the field don't understand them laws. You get what I'm saying? Them trees out there don't understand them laws. You see what I'm saying? That rain and that thunder and then lightning don't understand them laws of men. You get what I'm saying? So I had to, in order for me to even get on this platform and turn on this microphone and begin to speak with confidence, I had to be grounded in something that is bigger than life, this life itself. Okay, Paul, so I want to ask you, and I don't want to put you on spot. Could you start talking about some of these laws that me and you know exist, that the average, ordinary, walking, talking, educated, graduated from college, got a master's degree, that they don't even understand yet? Can you just touch that a little bit?
Well, I think we all know these laws exist, but again, you spoke to it earlier. The challenge with so many of us is our focus is on material things, by programming, by conditioning. And so we spend most of our energy and time running after material gain or money to pay the bills, and all the knowledge that gives us the proper foundation we ignore, is because we think that that's not important. And so we have all these conditions, and these conditions come from products of training, you know, generation after generation following each other's behavior, our parents and grandparents. And so what happens a lot of times is the very thing is right up under your nose that you know is valuable and you need it. It just stays there and you don't acknowledge it. It's because it's like, I don't have time to acknowledge that. You know, I always say to students, I say the greatest two, your greatest two inventory that you'll ever have in your life, your universe, is your thoughts and your feelings. That's your greatest two inventory. Wow. And most people spend very little time with their thoughts and their feelings. Every day, you spend very little time, less and less time, most people. But yet, all of your wealth is in your thoughts and your feelings. And so, until people start acknowledging certain things based on a practice based on the understanding of the value of the need to, then we'll continue to run this opposite direction, running from personal accountability, because we're not going to address certain things we need to understand at a more mature level. For example, water is meant to be wet. And so we drink water every day so we don't dehydrate. We bathe in the water every day so we don't smell. But how is that we know, Derek, not to go too far in the ocean? Because we interact with water every day. So we know the law of water because we're dealing with it every day. Right. So we are clear on that water. Right. Now let's look at the law of gravity. As long as you're on the physical plane of Earth, gravity operates the same way. And so we know not to go too close to a rooftop because we'll fall, break our neck, break our leg, kill ourselves. Well, the 1-year-old baby will walk straight off the rooftop because he doesn't have enough experience with gravity yet. Mm-hmm. And so all of these laws that govern us and govern the universe are in motion every day. And so they're by the thousands. And so we're not paying any attention to them. It's because we haven't had enough interaction with them. So you have the law of attraction. You have the law of purpose. You have the law of reason for being. You have the law of clear expression. You have the law of unity. You have the law of labor. You have the law of self-image. You have the law of unconditional love. So let's take those two, for example. The law of self-image and the law of unconditional love. Because this is the two that most people on planet Earth are really struggling with. When you deal with the law of self-image and the law of unconditional love, it teaches us that you will create an image for yourself if you don't know who you are in consciousness, or if you don't know who you are in self-identity. And so most people are living in an image of themselves, and their perception of reality comes through those perceptions or that particular perception. So therefore, it's always distorted. It's always distorted because you started with the judgment of yourself. There's something about yourself that you told yourself at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years of age. That's untrue. That's a lie. That's a flat out lie, and you believe it. You contracted with it. And so now you spend all your time tormenting yourself, beating yourself up from judgment left over from yesterday. And so that's what so many people on planet Earth are doing. And so when people open their mouth, most people just say judgment, 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 judgment. So it's a program. And so as long as you choose to live in that program by contract, you know, that's going to be the reality that you created. That's going to be the reality that you exist in. It's because that's the reality you created for yourself. Wow. And so what we have the love in doing is when people give us their permission, we begin to help them to understand that there's a whole universe out here waiting for your discovery. But it only can happen with your permission.
Real. That's real, bro. That's real, Paul.
Yes, sir.
Wow. I'm still taking that in, bro, because I mean, it's good energy coming from you. It's great energy, great perspective. And I really appreciate you taking out the time just to jump on here and just give us your perspective. You know, a lot of times, you know, I've been steering this ship almost 10 months right now, and it's always good to hear different perspectives, you know, on this thing called a life. And I know, and I'm getting, because you came up to Detroit, you and another brother, and I allowed you to come into my space, and it was really a great conversation that day that we had out on the water changing.
Yes, sir.
You know, I really love you, man, and I love what you do, and I'm just telling you, ladies and gentlemen, on IMConscious now, what you're gonna be hearing more from this brother. We got some things that I am gonna, you know, put my hand in it a little bit just to get the information that this brother has downloaded over. I'm talking about not just in consciousness, but just simple. I don't even want to tarnish what he's saying, but we're going to bundle it all up and we're going to give you access to this information that's just so vital for this time. A lot of this is not complicated, but like the brother was saying, you know, it starts with self, you know, it started with self, and some of the things that I used to view as so painful in my life, I alleviated them by changing the energy and the emotion that I attach to these circumstances and events. You know, for example, Paul, you know, and a lot of you heard this before, the biggest pain in my life was me accepting the fact that I was molested. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
I didn't understand that I was being molested when I was being molested. You know, it was my first sexual experience. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it just happened to be with a man. Uh-oh. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
and from the pressure of this planet, you know, when I started growing up and my body started changing, hey man, I just, my heart just geared toward these beautiful beings that we call women, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time that it was wrong to be with another man. I was a child. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was so infatuated with this beautiful thing called a woman. And then somewhere, somehow in the locker room, right, I found out that if you had ever been with a man before, even if you didn't want to, then you were a fag. Right?
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
you know, so right then and there, I attached that emotion, right? I started judging myself. Everything you said was true. I started hating myself. Nobody had to hate me. I started hating myself for what happened to me, which was out of my control, right?
Yeah.
It was bound to, and it's happening to millions and millions and millions and millions of souls all around the planet. You're incarnating into this body with an obstacle that's hitting you right out the gate. As soon as you take that first breath, you are born into this system. And so what we're trying to tell you is, from the core of our beings, right? Start loving yourself first. You have to fall in love with who you are. Who cares what happened to you on the journey? It's a journey of ascension. We all been drugged through miles and miles and miles and miles of horse shit. It's the same story from different perspectives. Nothing can change in your life until you start loving your life. Your life cannot be good if your perception of your life is fucked up. It's impossible. It's impossible for you to have a good life when your perception of your life is fucked up. You can have all of the one-on-one consultations you want, and there's conscious people out there that'll keep taking your money, knowing that your life will never change until you change the perspective of your life. It's all in the thoughts. It's all in the speech, and it's all in the belief. That's the power. What you believe. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
I was saying that what you just said is what we call giving yourself permission.
Okay.
You see, people have to ingrain themselves so deep in judgment that it's hard for them to give themselves permission. And so that's why we keep it all very practical and simple, because the more you can make it simple, people get it.
Yeah.
Give yourself permission. Because see, if I'm beating myself up every day in judgment, then the first thing to stop beating myself up, I have to give myself permission to love myself unconditionally without judgment. If I don't give myself permission first, it never happens.
Now, Paul, how do you give yourself permission? How does one give themselves permission?
Well, the reason why I say that is because, again, we're going back to contract. Everything in the universe is based on contractual law. And so everything starts with the thought. The thought, when you put the emotion to it and an intent to it, it becomes an idea. So when we say giving yourself permission, we're talking about the idea has to be acknowledged, and you have to contract with the idea. So that means everything that we're doing today successfully in our lives, we follow that same process. So the giving yourself permission is the exact same principle that you have to say to yourself, I'm going to give myself permission to love myself unconditionally. And so that's the contract. You formulate the contract when you say it.
I like it. I like it. I love it. Wow. Wow. Sit in that for a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Sit in that for a minute. That's good, man. It feels good. It sounds right. It feels right. It must be right, Paul. You must be on to something, man. It sounds good. It feels good. Then it must be good.
Yeah.
Wow, brother. So, Paul, what is some of the common things? First of all, how are you enjoying this new energy that's coming through? What are some of the things that you're doing with some of this new energy that, because you've been at this for 30 years, so you have seen a change in the shift in energy and frequency. Have you or have you not?
Yes, I see it every day and how it's playing out. I really don't give much thought to it in the sense of there's two different aspects to all of us, of course, we talked about. One is the personage of who I am, and then there's the spiritual me. And so on the higher vibration of who I am in consciousness, I really don't play too much into it because I'm looking at it through spiritual lenses. And so I'm looking at the universe doing what it does, and then how it's going to cleanse itself. In the physical, my concern, just like all of us, is for humanity and caring for each other and loving each other. And so from that perspective, you know, I feel a need to help people to understand themselves better so that they can give themselves permission and make the best choices for themselves, as, you know, all of this is closing in on everybody, because this physical realm is like a realm of life lessons, and the lessons are coming to you from the universe. And so the more that you're in judgment, you'll blame other people instead of really getting the lessons. But the more that you're conscious, you'll be focused on getting the lessons the universe is giving you, and you'll come out of judgment because you'll take on personal accountability.
That's so true. That is so. Yeah. How important is it for one to take personal responsibility for the life? How much of a vital is that? A big step? Is that easy? Because I can only see, like with me, Paul, I can only measure things that I've experienced, that I've personally experienced. I kind of, I can, you know, I'm not one that like look on your plate and see how you're responding to the food and then make my decision on whether I like chicken or potatoes. I've never been a person like that. I've always been the type of person where I have to experience it before I believe it. And some people think that, you know, that's a effed up way. But to me, everything that I talk about and that I'm grounded in, I've experienced it. You know what I mean? So how important or how big of a first step is it for one to just say, F it, I'm taking full responsibility of my ascension and my journey? How big of a step is that? Is that important, or does that even matter?
Well, I'll say it like this. Becoming personally accountable is not easy, but it's simple. And it's not easy because all of our lives we've been programmed to look and give our power away to what I would call alien force. And so we're always looking to give our power away to somebody else so we can blame somebody else and not be accountable for what goes wrong. And so that type of programming and conditioning has been pretty much normal for most people since their birth. So that's what makes it not easy. But it's very simple, because becoming personally accountable is where all your genius, all your greatness, all your pure potentiality await your arrival. That once you're sincere about acknowledging, accessing, and applying your pure potentiality, then you have to acknowledge that you want to be personally accountable. Now let's see how simple it is. Everybody comes to planet Earth in 9 characteristics that we have designed to help understand the pure potentiality in all of us. That is honesty, consciousness, imagination, unconditional love, enthusiasm, creativity. And so we have self-reliance. I think I left a couple of them out, but the point I wanted to get to is self-reliance. So in our natural state of relying on self, as we watch the 1-year-old baby try to do everything for him or herself, he wants to pour his own milk, she wants to change her own diaper. She don't want you to do anything for her because it's already there. The personal accountability is already in the self-reliant energy that we have at birth. So the challenge is that we actually give the accountability away, or we trade it off in contract for some material desire at a very young age. So it's only natural for us to become personally accountable. The challenge with most people are running from personal accountability is because that we start living this thing called life, And the more you live this thing called life, you begin to realize aspects of yourself, there's a lot more there than you have encountered. There's a lot more there that you have explored. There's a lot more there that you have tapped into. So it becomes much simpler to try to fit in as opposed to tap into those resources.
Great point, man. Great point. I mean, you just really answer the questions, and I thank you for that.
Yeah.
Paul, let's dive a little deeper. Let's play a little bit. Let's go a little deeper. Let's stretch our consciousness a little more today. And I know in this illusion of time, we're running out of time. We're almost to the top of the hour, and I promise you just an hour today. But how important, because, and I'll use me again as an example. I have pulled up now 2 of my, what I would call in English, because you're so right about this language. And that's why I don't get into the language thing, because I understand different people communicate in this language a different way. And you can change one word, Paul, and it changes the whole definition of something. So that's a great point that you made. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, when I'm trying to translate the non-physical to the physical, I always get caught up on the words that I'm trying to say, because I'm trying to find the best English word to describe how I feel. You see, and it's very difficult. It's not that I don't have the education to pull the words down. It's just I'm trying to scan my mind for the best word to describe how you feel. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult at times.
With accuracy, with precision. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's because I get caught up a lot. I'll be trying to, let me see, how can I explain this? And I know some people are like, just fucking say it, Derek. But I wish I could sometimes. But I just can't find the words for some of the way that I feel in these different dimensions. So, Paul, let's go back to me. Yeah. Now, I have this urgency in me right now, this will and this desire to get what I'm experiencing out in this carnation. And I am aware of reincarnating. I'm aware of that. I've traced back 2, and I'm sure I probably got more than just 2, but I'm conscious of 2, of one which I was very, very rich. And in another incarnation, I was a female. Yeah. So that's why I'm probably so in tune with my divine feminine energy in this incarnation and my masculine energy. So it kind of taught me to love both frequencies that create this non-duality being that I am from a higher perspective. How important is it in this incarnation that we're focusing on right now in this linear time, right where we are now? In the everybody right now, I want you to focus on the present moment if you can right now. Okay, let's defy time for a minute, right? In this present moment where we sit right now, how important is it, Paul, to get this message?
Let me describe it from this perspective.
Go ahead, brother.
Because a lot of my understanding is the result of years and years of mathematics, mentorship from people who were much more knowledgeable than I was as a younger person with immaturity of development. And so as we put the pieces together to get a larger understanding and a better picture of reality of this thing called life, it's a constant. So my understanding is that binary mind, let's start with binary mind. The word binary in the mathematical term means 2 at its base. And so by me answering a question like that, this is how I would qualify it. In binary mind, which we all start at birth in this thing called life, we're born into the world. In binary mind, we have a choice to buy into the physical realm as our reality or buy into the spiritual realm as our reality. Now, when you buy into the spiritual realm as your reality, you've already incorporated the physical realm too, because everything in the spiritual realm manifests itself in the physical realm. But when you buy into the physical realm alone, when you mark or check physical realm and not dealing with the spiritual aspect of yourself, then your perception is going to be completely different about everything, because it's going to be limited. It's going to be limited to your physical perception. And so this we're going back to the law of self-image versus understanding higher laws that govern the universe that deals with things beyond that. Because once you're bought into a self-image and you lock yourself into that perception, everything now revolves around your perception of yourself. There's nothing outside of that because you created that. So when you deal with binary mind and you lock yourself into I am who I am, then all the conversations you want to hear have to be about you. Everything has to validate you. And other than that, there's no other realities because you don't even want to hear anything outside of that because it doesn't concern you. So you become so limited in your perception on things, you will spend most of your life just kind of waiting for death to occur, is because there's no bigger cause in your life than yourself. And so that's a very miserable life. There's no such thing as joy and peace and understanding and love in that life. It's because you've limited yourself to self-absorption. So everything has to be about you. Now, so when we go over to the other reality of consciousness and understanding that you have chosen to operate at a more higher vibration of your reality, which means that you're not just living in the world of mentality of self-image, you now have created all possibilities in the universe. You have just accessed infinite possibilities. So now infinite thoughts will flow through your consciousness because you contracted with that. You allowed that to be. You created that in your universe. And so now you have two different types of people we're talking about. And so everybody's perfect where they are. Here's one thing that I've learned, and I had to learn this the very soft way, that everybody is absolutely perfect in the choices that they made. Because if you want to live in a limitation of your reality through self-perception, it's okay. The universe ain't going to be mad at you. Just understand the conditions and the consequences of that behavior. If you want to live in the universe of vast possibilities, infinite possibilities, and you can free yourself and move to other planes of existence, you can travel and come back, you can begin to understand, things beyond this world, then you're perfect with that. So it's like the universe is such a infinite place of possibility that once you have chosen to unlimit yourself, not to put yourself in a limitation, then you created so much more in the reality that you will access your brain computer or your consciousness too. And so that's how, I qualify things, because, I can always look on both angles, because, I know a lot of times when I'm talking to people who just decided that this physical thing called life and earth is going to be their reality. And then I know I'm just wasting my time talking to them on a spiritual plane because they're not going to comprehend it.
Right.
It's like the scripture says, and they comprehend it, they're not. Right. And so this is the work that I've been doing for years. And, of course, you start off the same way, thinking things. And then as you begin to see the patterns formulate, you begin to see the behavior formulate, and you notice something here is not right, because this person is not vibrating at this frequency. They're not comprehending. They're not listening to the words that I speak. And so therefore I realized it was a choice. But at one point I didn't understand that. I thought it was, that they just heard what I said, but didn't hear what I said. But they couldn't hear what I said because they had not turned on their consciousness through the contract in which they created with themselves.
Man, Paul, man, I just wish we was in the non-physical realms right now where everything is just simultaneously, because unfortunately, brother, we are out of time in the illusion of time, man. Damn.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul, can I get you to come back for another hour to do a part 2 to this? Because we were just getting started. I got so many perspectives I want to bounce off of you. So can we get you to come back maybe on another hour? Just spend another couple of hours with us, because I'm sure there's some people that want to actually ask you some questions, because what we actually do is we allow people to call in, you see, because I'm sure there's some individuals out there, even over at the chat. Let me see real fast before, if you have a question for Paul right now and you're in the chat right now, type your question in the chat and I'll ask Paul those questions right now. Okay, I know there's a delay. So if you have a question that you want me to ask Brother Paul while we got him on here, type your question in the comment section in the chat right now. So Paul, like right now, I know you got some goodies. You got some stuff cooking up in the kitchen. So you're going to make all of this information that you have over 30 years of you know, living this and walking and breathing this conscious energy. You're going to package all of that up and you're going to make it available for the public, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We look forward to that. And I look forward to assisting you in that, my brother. And I want to attach that frequency right to this stream live. So ladies and gentlemen, you can look forward to some more information coming from this brother. We're not going to let him slide through the cracks on this. We're going to let him do his thing. And I'm going to make sure every chance I get, I'm going to plug him into this platform. So let's see. All right. So Paul, I got one coming in, and this is from Life on the Move a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. He says, I'm trying to learn manifesting, and I don't know how to break contracts I made with myself. How do I? Where does he start? Okay. I'll read it again. I'm trying to learn manifesting. I don't know how to break contracts that he made with himself. See, he's aware from when you put it from that perspective, we make contracts with ourselves. So he's asking, how does he break some of the contracts that he's made with himself? Where does he start?
Well, yeah. Well, the first thing I would say to the person is to everybody is be very clear that the universe is simple. There's nothing complicated. So a lot of times what we're doing, Derek, is we're thinking things to be a lot more complicated than what it is. Breaking a contract with yourself is very, very simple. You do it every day. Not that you may do it every day, but it's simple. It takes a fraction of a second to break a contract with yourself. For example, when you say contract, it's different than habit. And so most of us, what we're trying to do is change habits that we put in force through contract. But to change a contract, it happens in a second. For example, say I'm a smoker and I want to stop smoking. I can contract with myself in a second and say, I am no longer going to smoke anymore. Now, the challenge with that is because it's a habit and it's been addictive to me, I've said the contract, but I have not penetrated the vibrational level of changing the contract. So I said to myself the first time, so that's called acknowledgement. The power that we have is in 3 stages. It is the acknowledging, the accessing, and the applying. That's where the power is in all of us. So when you acknowledge something in the contractual phase, that is just the first step. And this is why so many people are ineffective in their lives, is because we operate only on the knowledge side. Oh, knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. Knowledge must have a force in order for it to have power. And so therefore, what a person has to do to break a contract with him or herself is they have to have first the desire to break the contract. So just saying it alone is not going to do it. So you have to work up the desire. So if something is a strong force that you have had in your life, something that is habitual you've had in your life, you have to now create the power of breaking the contract, because there's a whole spiritual world that you've attached to a contract. So, for example, if I'm a smoker, I'm not just smoking cigarettes now. There's a spirit in me that's addictive to that smoking that cigarette. And so that spirit doesn't want to leave your house. So you have to get that spirit out of you, and then the spirit of wanting to smoke will be gone. So there's a process. And so therefore, anything that you want to manifest, you have to also understand that realm. And when you break into that realm consciously, and Derek talks about it all the time because he's talking about understanding the higher self and travel and moving outside of your body, then things become a lot simpler. It's because you're now dealing with the root source. And when you're only on the physical plane, again, you're limiting yourself, is because you're only dealing with the phase of it that's manifested and you're not at the root.
Great answer. We got time for one more. Psych Zen wants to know, Paul, how would you define judgment? When you use that word judgment, could you be more clear on how you define the word judgment?
Yes, sir. Judgment basically is when you are taking something and putting context to it that does not have a foundation to it of what is called empirical verification. If you can't see it, feel it, taste it, touch it, or hear it to verify that it's real, that it's true, that it's an absolute, then anything outside of that is judgment. Like, for example, you go on jury duty and they ask you, can you judge people impartially? Can you pass judgment on someone? Well, I don't want to pass judgment on anybody. What I want is the facts. If you give me the facts and I can look at the facts and assess mathematically that this person did it based on the facts, I ain't got to pass no judgment. All the facts says the person did it. If you don't have enough facts there, then therefore I can't conclude this person did it. And that's why the law system is based on intent, because you have to be able to prove without doubt that this person did it. And so, of course, that's a whole nother show. But when we talk about facts and judgment, you're dealing with people who have told themselves a whole bunch of lies. I'm stupid. I'm ugly. I'm black. I'm this. I'm that. And so all these things are lies. If you say I'm black and you're black, you're not black. People who are calling themselves black have a different hue than people who call themselves a different color or a different shade, I should say. Mm-hmm. And so we have all these things that are just basically lies. We bought into a program of lies, and these lies are constantly told to ourselves over and over again, and they're judgment. That's all it is. And so most things that we say to ourselves as judgment is just a lie. And we just believe them because everybody accepts them as true or real. And so therefore, after you have tens of thousands of these in your belief system, you create a vortex. And in that core energy of that vortex, you start deceiving yourself and disillusioning yourself. And so it's so easy to live in a lie once you told yourself enough of it.
That's good, Paul. That's so good. That's so real, man. Thank you so much for spending this time with us today, dear brother. I'm going to get you back on. And hey, man, I got you in the headlock, brother. I got you in the headlock, brother. I appreciate you being in this space with us today. We love you. Is there anything else you want to leave us with? Anything before you go? Anything else before we let you go for now?
What did you just say? You went in and came out.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said, is there anything you want to leave us with before we depart on this encounter? Anything you think we should hear?
The only thing I would say is the best therapy that I could ever share for anybody is simple. Just be yourself.
Oh.
That one.
Oh man, that just hit my heart space, man. That's all I could be now, man. And you know, when I'm not being myself, I just feel so out of alignment now. You know, when I'm just being me, I'm just expressing myself, using this physical body, using the energy that everyone else has access to. And what I've found out that, you know, I am immortal. I am everything. I can tap into everything with this imagination that I'm learning that has no depths, no widths. It's the alpha, it's the mega, it's the first, it's the last, it's the beginning, it's the end. It's the same message that this Jesus was talking about in this book. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man, no physical man can tap into this consciousness, this Father word that they use, unless he comes through me. He's talking about the vibration of love that casts out all fear, ladies and gentlemen. He ain't talking about no physical man with long hair or blue eyes, or no black man with dreadlocks and a beard, or no Chinese. He's not talking about that. He said, I'm the way, the truth, and the light. No man, no physical human can tap into this consciousness, right? And explore this unless he comes through that heart space, that vibration of love, that heart chakra, baby. And on that note, we're going to leave you, ladies. And that's beautiful, man. If you could just grasp that. And that's what we was trying to drive home today, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get caught up in this good, bad, black, white, Democrat, Republican. Don't even get caught. We gotta ascend higher than that. We gotta find this love that they've been talking about for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. This love that casts away our fear. You know what I mean? This vibration that this Jesus was walking around casting out these demons of fear. Did you pick that up yet, Paul? That these demons, that this Jesus was, or Jesus or Horus? There's a lot of different stories, same stories, right, of the Savior. But this power that these individuals had, they were casting out the fear and doubt, which manifested as demons in people's lives that took over just what you was talking about. They lost the ability to think for themselves, and they were being controlled by their thoughts, their emotions, and their circumstances, which manifests in 3 density or 4th or 5th as demons. And he was using his love vibration. He would always ask them, right? Or she, you know, do you believe I can do this? You really got to read these books from a different perspective. You can't read these spiritual books carnal. You can't. He would always ask them, do you believe I can do this?
They're all written in code anyway.
Yeah, you gotta discern these books. You know, like I tell people, the Bible is not a bad book. It's just the way it was used and positioned to be the only book to consciousness, and that's just not true. That's not true. You see what I'm saying? But the book itself is not bad, right? It's just the way they muscled this one book and stole and raped all of the publishing. See, if you want to know the truth, what they call the truth, just follow the money. That's all. If you want to know the truth behind the Bible, trace the publishing. It's going back to the Vatican, okay? That's why it's the #1 book in print. That's why it's superb #1 uno in spirituality, because it was pushed by the Vatican to be the infallible word of God, which we know now. We are the gods, right? We know that now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just rise up. Let's come together in oneness, in non-duality, and let's just use our consciousness and our visuals and our mouths and our thoughts. Let's use it in a different perspective from which we were taught. Let's be brave enough to go outside the boundaries of man, because you should know by now the man in you or the woman in you is limited here. Okay, it's limited to where you can use it. It's limited. You can't go outside the laws and the boundaries of man. But when you tap into this consciousness, when you take the time, like Brother Paul said, that time, and this is key, I want to drive this home, that intimate time that you spend with self. Listen, you starving yourself to death because you're using that intimate time that you should be spending with yourself, and you're giving it to physical, tangible, make-believe items that have no merit on your ascension. You're raping yourself from that intimate time with you, spending time with yourself. That's why I tell you, go to the closet, you know, turn off the computer, turn off the cell phone, spend that one-on-one time with yourself, get back into your imagination and see how far you can go, and try to convince yourself that it's not real what you're experiencing from mentalism. Try to convince yourself. It's going to be very, very hard when you wake up from your first lucid dream, is what I'll call it, right? And the first word you're going to say, wow, I wouldn't have known it was real if I didn't wake up. Wake up to what? What's real? I challenge you. I challenge you to take that challenge when you have your first lucid dream. And the only way you can clarify it as being a dream, the only way you can downplay it from being real is because you woke up. Woke up to what is what you should question. Now your second question should be, okay, damn, if that was a fucking dream, what is this? Right? That should be your next. If the only reason you can downplay one of your lucid dreams is because you woke up here, where's here? We'll pick up on that next week, right, Paul? We'll pick up. Sir. We love you. I thank you for having you. I'm going to get you back on, and behind the scenes, we're going to start, you know, boxing up this material that you have and making it presentable to the public, because I really feel like in this illusion of time right now, it's simple enough, People can understand it. You're very articulate. You're very educated. And I just feel like it'll help so many people getting your information out of here. So I'm going to use some of my resources that I have and some of my connections that I have to help you do this. Okay.
Appreciate that. All right.
All right.
So much.
All right. Peace and love, brother.
Sharing and opening up the platform.
No problem. I'll catch up with you. Peace and love, brother. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you again for joining in another episode. I just try, you know, it just comes. This is our platform, first of all, and it just comes on my journey. I feel like from the core of my being that I have expressed and told my story enough times, and I just feel that is some of you out there. We got a lot of new faces in the chat. I want to give everybody the opportunity to utilize IMConscious. Now, what? This is not my platform. I'm just sitting in the seat pushing the buttons, okay? I just had the vision that I pulled from the non-physical realms to start this. I say this all of the time. This is your platform, okay? So what we're going to be doing Wednesday is we're going to do a conscious chatter on Wednesday, okay? So everybody that's here today, Sunday, Wednesday at 1 p.m., I'm going to give you, ladies and gentlemen, a chance to call in. I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let you express how you're experiencing the life and things that are going on in your life so we can capture this energy, amplify it, and shoot it back out on social media, okay? And so Wednesday, I want to have at least 20 or 30 callers. If you're here today, Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm opening up the phone line. I mean, right after the intro plays, I'm going right to the phone line. And I want to hear what's going on. How you guys, ladies and gentlemen, taking in this energy? Where are you at? Are you ascending? Do you have some obstacles that you need to get around? And we can express all of these things live to the world, and we can help break this vicious cycle of duality. All right. So peace and love. I love you guys. Thank you for joining on. Join our Facebook group. If you're not in our Facebook group, there is a link in the description box. Hit the thumbs up button. Take the link, share it on your social media if you feel led to. And I'll see you guys Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Conscious Chatter. I'm giving you guys the platform. I'm out. I love you. Peace and love.